Hello, HyddenWell farmers. Good to see y'all for story time. I'm sitting here in front of the turkey tractor. All my turkeys are growing up and they're just absolutely beautiful. Love them. They've like doubled in size. You can see them walking around out there. From what I can tell, I've got 5 males and 4 females in there. And in the barn, I'm pretty sure that I've got 3 males and 2 hens. But, you know, I'm not really good yet at sexing turkeys. I'm getting better. But it's a really hot day. Here at the farm, today it got up to like 90. The humidity is like 100%. I've already had one little thunderstorm come through, and that just made it worse. It made it like more humid. And so I was hauling a bunch of hay out to the rabbits, and I was hauling a bunch of hay to my feedlot because I got 20 winglings back here. Man, I tell you what, I just sweating. And the dogs went and hid on me. They said, I've had enough of this. It's too hot to hang out with you. So, I don't know, the heat and everything, I got to thinking about the hottest summer that I can ever remember. And yeah, I can't put an exact date on it, but I'm pretty sure that the hottest summer that I can ever remember was 1989. I mean, that summer was just hot. And I was working for Mike Culver, and we were commissioned by him and his daddy to go to Clay City, Kentucky. Now, this story is a 2-parter, so you get 2 for the price of 1 today. And we got up like 4 o'clock in the morning and took off. I was driving an old Dodge with a modified 454 engine in it that you could literally see as you gave it gas, the gas gauge go like this as the odometer and speedometer went like that. I mean, it was a powerful engine. And I had a gooseneck on it, and then Mike Culver's dad, old Doc Culver, he had an 18-wheeler flatbed, and we took it all the way from Williamsburg, Kentucky to Clay City, Kentucky. And we didn't take the back roads, we took the interstate and came down 11 to get there. The old farm was way back in the middle of nowhere, and it was so hot. Unfortunately, you couldn't get the 18-wheeler to where the hay was. And they were all square bales. So me and Alan Woods and I believe Alan Freeman and I believe Mark Vanover was with us that day. We traveled all the way up there, and it was, again, just hot. Couldn't get the 18-wheeler, so we had to drive the gooseneck to the barn, climb up in the barn, fill the gooseneck up, drive the gooseneck out of the field up to where the 18-wheeler was, unload all of the hay onto the 18-wheeler flatbed. Again, the numbers are staggering. I can't pull them out of my head, but it was a lot of hay, and you had to handle it 3 times. They had a well, an old hand-dug well that was out there in the middle of the field, and we would go in between every 50 or 60 bales, go to that well and crank it up by hand. The water was ice cold. I still remember that was the best tasting water I've ever had in my life. Unbelievable. I'd like to have some of that water today. It was so good. We were coming out with about the 3rd load, and it must have been 1 billion degrees that day. The sun had set on the earth and had scorched it with its mighty powerful heat. And it was just, I mean, I was baking alive. And the worst thing that could ever happen to a group of men working in hay. The old man was pulling the wagon out of there, and he hit a rock. Wasn't paying much attention because he wanted to get done too. He rocked that big old gooseneck, and all of that hay went vloop, vloom, as it shifted right out into the field. Just throwed all of it off of that trailer. And of course, we had to pick it all up and restack it as he got it all. And that meant some walking and some throwing. And now we were going from a hay to a trailer. We were going from the ground back up to the trailer. A couple of the bales had fallen way out in the field, and the grass, I remember the grass and the weeds were up to here in parts of that field. And all that hay had fallen out there in it. I went out there and I grabbed this bale, and immediately, I reached down in the weeds and I grabbed the bale, and immediately I felt something sting me. And when I looked down, you can still see the scar right here. When I looked down, I had been bitten by a snake. In my panic, I tried to catch the thing or, whatever, slap it or do something, but I was also, I can't believe I just got bit by a snake. And then I was kind of worried, but as it was going off, I was pretty sure it wasn't poisonous. I was pretty sure. The day was hot. We were all aggravated. It was time to go home, but we still had to do like 2 more loads of this stuff, and now we were picking it up out of the field. And it wasn't hurting that bad. So I didn't want to be the spoiler. I didn't want to be the guy that said, I just got bit by a snake, oh my gosh. I didn't want to be that guy. So I said nothing. You remember when I pierced myself? I didn't say nothing. I just kind of held it and wiped the blood off and all that kind of stuff. It was warm. I remember how warm it was. It was very warm, and I could feel my blood pumping. And I figured, you know what? If I'm going to have a bad reaction to a poisonous steak, probably going to happen in the next 20 minutes. Well, 20 minutes went by, and I just had this big swollen knot on my arm. I just kept throwing hay. I never said a word. We worked all day. Every time we go to that well, I'd pour some of that water. And finally, Alan, who was there, asked me, he said, what happened? And I looked at him and I said, I just bumped my arm up against the trailer real bad there. And he kind of looked at me like, I know you're lying. Something else happened. I don't know what that is, but that ain't no bump. But he didn't say anything. He was tired. I was tired. We got that hay all loaded. And then the final load on the gooseneck, we was driving back to Williamsburg on this horrendously earth-scorched day. The sun was licking the back of my throat with its beams, and it was drying it out instantly. There wasn't enough water on the earth to put out the thirst. And that truck was feeling it too, because halfway home the engine blew up. So there we were on the side of the road for like another 2 hours until a tow truck come picked us up and hauled us the rest of the way home. I think we pulled back into Williamsburg somewhere around 2 a.m. Rain was coming. And so the next day, we had to get there and get it in the barn as quickly as possible. I got up that morning after a 16-hour day, and I took a shower to try to wake up, and my shoulder and my arm was killing me. I mean, it was so sore, and down there where that thing, it was leaking. It was all this like bloody water stuff was coming out of it, and I mean, it just was aching. And so I took it up on myself to go in there, and I hunted up some Tylenol, and I took some Tylenol, went on to work. None of the other boys showed up. Me. I was the only one that showed up. So Dr. Culver and I, the old man Culver and I, unloaded all of that hay. It took all day, and we unloaded every bit of that hay and stacked it in the barn. Dude, I was a whooped puppy. But as the day went on, some of the soreness worked out of my arm until that night. And then I got in bed that evening, and my arm was throbbing. It just hurt. I mean, it hurt from like my clavicle all the way down to my fingers. And so I went and took some more Tylenol in the middle of the night. Got up the next morning and took a shower. I think the next day was Sunday. Went to church and everything like that. Monday morning come up. Mom was in the kitchen getting ready to go to work. She had thrown out some cereal or something other, and I was coming out, and she saw me. She said, "What in the world has happened to your arm?" And I looked down. It was nasty. There was this huge wound on my arm. And so I wasn't going to lie to my mama. I told her, I said, well, we was out there Friday and I got nailed by a snake. I mean, she's a nurse. She's, worked in the medical profession all her life. And I've never seen my mama turn white. I mean, she just, like, all of the blood drained out of her head and went down her neck. And it just, and then all of a sudden that sun, you know how it come and scorched the earth? Well, my mom is made of half of that sun, and she took all of that energy, and the phoenix rose out of her mouth and out of her head, and this bright light come out, and she goes, "What? Get over here and let me look at that." And of course, my eyes were this big, and I walked over and I showed her. I don't know if she was more worried or more mad or a combination of both. But, oh my gosh, she chewed my tail. I mean, let me have it right there in the kitchen. And I told her I was going to be all right. And she said, "It'll be all right when your arm falls off." So, anyway, I ended up at the doctor's. The only thing they really could do at that point was put me on some antibiotics. And old Doc Miller put me on some antibiotics. And I went on about my business. And the funny thing is that spot right there where that scar is, I don't know if you can see it or not, but that scar right there, got this huge black place all the way around. I mean, it was as black as tar. Like you had taken some bikini wax stuff and put on your arm, that stuff, and it turns black, and then you rip it off. It was hard. It was like a plate of iron. It was dead. You couldn't feel nothing on it. And that thing was on there. I was afraid to do anything with it. And one day I was taking a shower, and the edge of it was kind of popping up a little bit. And so I was like, And I grabbed it real quick, and I jerked it, and the whole thing come off. And all I had was these two nasty, infected holes in my arm. And all the stuff that came out of there was just, and it stunk. I mean, if you can be alive and stink that bad, I don't know how, but it stunk. It was unbelievable. And all the skin around it was pink like baby skin. There wasn't a hair on it. Didn't hurt. I washed it off really, really good. I put a little bandage on it and kept going to work. And it healed up and left me with this really nice little scar. So now fast forward almost 25 years. My wife and I and two of my kids, we're tearing down a building to build a new house at the back of my garage. And I'm knocking out walls, and I'm going along, and I come to this part, and I'm getting ready to take this ceiling down, and I hit it once, and this big giant black snake falls out of the roof and lands on me. I screamed. You remember that phoenix that Mom had come out of her? I'm like, I couldn't get that thing off of me fast enough. Susan, my wife, starts laughing at the top of her lungs. I don't have a snake wrapped around me. I'm not dying or anything like that from the possibility of death staring me in the face. Oh, no. This is a funny moment. I don't know what got into her, but she was literally on her knees laughing at me. I told her she's a foolish woman and she was going to have to pay dearly for that because God was going to punish her beyond measure. And he did. She had another kid. But that snake fell out of the roof, and it took off. So I caught the thing, and it was just an old black snake, and showed it to the kids, and they're like that about the business. But Susan said, "I didn't know you was afraid of snakes." I said, "It could have been an earthworm, but if it falls out of the roof and lands on me, I'm still going to scream." Oh, heavens. But anyway, that's story time from HyddenWell. I hope y'all have a very blessed day. And remember, if you ever get bit by a snake, seek medical attention. Bye.
like a bird on a tree. I'm just sitting here, I got time, it's clear to see. From up here, the world seems small. We can sit together, it's so beautiful, you and me. We meant to be in the great outdoors, forever free. Sometimes you need to go and take a step back to see the truth around you. From a distance you can tell. You and me were meant to be in the great outdoors, forever free. You and me meant to be in the great outdoors, forever free. Like a bird on a tree, I'm just sitting here, I got time, it's clear to see. From up here, the world seems small. We can sit together,